Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another video here today where we are previewing the 8th episode of the series, the final episode before we get into the, the series conclusion, which is certainly being bigged up to be quite epic. So looking forward to that, but also looking forward to this episode. So this one definitely sounds like it could be pretty good. So it is the 8th episode of series 12, named The Haunting of Villa Diodati. It's based around, well, the people writing Frankenstein. It's written by Maxine, Alderton and directed by Emma Sullivan. So the synopsis of this episode is: nobody mentioned Frankenstein, nobody interfered, nobody snogged Byron. Should be easy, right? The Doctor and her gang at Villa Diodati at Lake Geneva in 1816, on a night that inspired Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. The plan is to spend the evening soaking up the atmosphere in the presence of some literary greats, but the ghosts are all too real and the Doctor is forced into a decision of earth-shattering proportions. Now that final line is interesting for sure. I'll get into that a bit later. So then what do I think is going to happen in this episode? I think it's definitely going to be quite a scary episode overall. It's interesting that it's placed next to Can You Hear Me, since that was during really quite a creepy and eerie episode. But yeah, I think it's going to have some light comedy to it. I'm kind of getting that based off the line in synopsis that says nobody snog Byron. So I think there's going to be some light humour in this, but generally I think it's going to be quite a scary and eerie episode. I think for the most part, until we get to the end of it, it's going to feel like a typical Doctor Who episode. Just they go to meet a historical figure, think weird stuff starts happening, and they have to try and survive. But then it starts getting a bit serious later on, when as in the next time, as in the trailer for the next episode, it sort of says one death and could change the course of history. So I think the stakes are going to just start getting higher and higher as the story goes on, which is something that I'm quite looking forward to see how it's done. Now, as I said, this episode is written by Maxine Alderton and directed by Emma Sullivan. And the last episode is Emma Sullivan's debut in Doctor Who, but this is Maxine Alderton debut in Doctor Who. So I'm looking forward to seeing just how she, what she brings new to the show, because as I said, she's never written for the show before. It's always interesting to see how a new writer does. Hopefully she can keep up the trend of generally high quality episodes. The only one that's sort of being below par this series, for me at least, is Orphan 55. Praxis was solid. I mean, it wasn't remarkable, but it's solid. It's an episode that I don't mind rewatching. But Orphan 55 is the only one this season that I just haven't enjoyed. So hopefully Maxine Alderton can keep up that trend of another good episode. As I said, I think this episode is going to start changing the more, like when it comes to the second half of the story. At the first, it's going to feel quite normal, but then big stuff starts happening. The characters, the historical figures, are going to start being threatened by something, and this higher force, it sort of says that the ghosts are all too real, and that's going to be some big high force, which I think will relate to something in the finale. Maybe it's a timeless child, maybe it's something we don't know about yet, maybe it's the Cybermen, because Frankenstein kind of has similarities to the Cybermen, so you could see a possible link there. It has been rumoured that this episode will feature an appearance from the lone Cybermen. I don't think the Cybermen will necessarily pop up in this story, as it's not written by Chibnall at all. It's just written by Maxine Alderton. But I think this episode is going to end off something like Closing Time did back in Series 6, where the episode's like not ordering to the end, and then we get a scene that leads into the finale, and I think we'll see the lone Cyberman right at the end of the episode. So I'm certainly looking forward to seeing that, the two-parter, so I'm excited to see that if that happens. So going back to the synopsis, what it said in that last line, where it said the Doctor is forced into a decision of earth-shattering proportions. What could that be? Now, contrast to what I've just said, because this theory just popped into my head in the last few seconds. Back in Fugitive the Dodoon, the Doctor was warned by Captain Jack to not give the Lone Sideman what it wants. Now, as it's described, the Lone Sideman suggesting that there's probably not many of them left. This Lone Sideman is probably very powerful and exists on its own. He also said that the whole universe is at stake, so it's big stakes. We also know that an army of Sidemen are going to pop up in the finale. It's not just going to be the Lone Sidemen, there's going to be a whole army of them. So, a theory of mine, if the Lone Sidemen does pop up in this episode, and if it's not just right at the very end, hyping us up for the finale, could they have something to do with the events that are occurring in this haunted villa? It's certainly something I'm going to be keeping in mind. I've worked up from the Coming Soon trailer as well that there's one line from the Doctor here which when she sort of says sometimes even I can't win, so that's probably more to do with the end. And I don't know necessarily what's going to happen. I think the big threat of Destroyer is losing any historical characters, but I don't think I highly doubt that'll happen. But I'm really intrigued to see what this how this episode is going to end, because it certainly sounds like it's going to be quite a big ending, to be honest, which I'm looking forward to seeing. So we're going back to 1816, which means the fam are going to need some period outfits like we did in episode 4, Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror, and the BBC released pictures of them and they do look very good. I do like the outfits they're doing, so I'm looking forward to seeing them in the episode. And it was also suggested at the end of Can You Hear Me, when she said you might want to change your clothes. I'm glad this is something they've incorporated into this series, because it did seem out of place when they got in episodes like Rosa, Demons of the Punjab and Witchfinders, where they're just wearing normal outfits. So they all look very good in that, and even Jodie's got some sort of waistcoat thing on, which looks okay. It looks a bit odd and definitely not made for that outfit, but you know, that's Jodie for you. Well, that's her Doctor at least. And that was something that bugged me in Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror, that she didn't change at all, but the Phantom had. So glad to see that she's changing this time. But yeah, apart from that, that's all I can preview for this episode. It's certainly one that I have high expectations for, and hopeful for it to be another good episode, and hoping that there's going to be some sort of cliffhanger leading to the finale, and will we see the Lone Cyberman in this episode? Who knows. But yeah, apart from that, let me know your theories for this episode in the comments down below. Please do like if you enjoyed the video, do subscribe for our next video, which will be the reaction to this episode. Yeah, apart from that, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.